On the first day of January 1892, they opened Ellis Island and they let the people through. And the first to cross the threshold of that Isle of Hope and Tears was Annie Moore from Ireland. She was all of 15 years. Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears, Isle of Freedom, Isle of Fears. But it's not the isle you left behind. That Isle of hunger, Isle of pain, Isle you'll never see again. But the Isle of home is always on your mind. In her little bag she carried all her past and history, and her dreams for the future in the land of liberty. And courage is the passport when your old world disappears, 'cause there's no future in the past when you're 15 years. Isle of hope, Isle of tears, Isle of freedom, Isle of fears. But it's not the isle you left behind. That Isle of hunger, Isle of pain, Isle you'll never see again. But the Isle of home is always on your mind. When they closed down Ellis Island, 1943, 17 million people had come there for sanctuary. And in springtime when I came here, I stepped onto its piers. I thought of how it must have been when you're 15 years. Isle of hope, Isle of tears, Isle of freedom, Isle of fears. But it's not the isle you left behind. That Isle of hunger, Isle of pain, Isle you'll never see again. But the Isle of home is always on your mind. The Isle of home is always on your mind. How did I write the song? Well, I hadn't been to the United States until 1995. I'd been lots of other places, but somehow, I don't know, I wasn't there. And I was on a trip to Nashville, and on the way back I went to Ellis Island and was totally moved by the place. You know, as soon as you walk in, the Great Hall, listen to the recordings of mainly these old women who had come in at the time and had to go through medical exams and everything. Mm-hmm. And then I saw the statue of Annie Moore, which Jenny Reinhardt, the Irish sculptor, had done, and her story. Then I saw the stories about the kissing gate and how the young men used to come with photographs because they were expecting their bride to be, but because the women were in such poor state of repair from the journey that sometimes they tore up the photographs and left. And I thought that was heartrending. And when I was walking back to get the boat to Manhattan, I was thinking of, well, you know, she was only, as we thought at the time, a 15-year-old. And what must that have been like for a 15-year-old? So on the flight back, I started scribbling out the ideas, Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears, and so on. And then when I came back here, I got to the piano and wrote the song. But I always say Annie wrote the song, I just kept out of the way, and that's why I keep her always on the piano as a sort of inspiration. And then a wonderful thing happened I tried to contact her descendants, but they had the wrong Annie until about 2007, 2008. They thought the Annie was an Annie who was killed somewhere between Fort Worth and Dallas, that she had married a descendant of Daniel O'Connell, the famous Irish liberator. That was the wrong Annie. Our Annie, this Annie, never moved far from New York, and she married a baker, an Austrian baker, and she had 11 children, many of whom died. And this genealogist, Megan Smoleniak, tracked them down along with the New York Harbour Lights Commission and found her real descendants. The other descendants, in fairness to them, had never claimed. They had this thing put on them, and I think they felt that they weren't the descendants of the right Annie. She was buried in an unmarked pauper's grave in Calvary Cemetery, so her descendants got together and got a memorial made here in Clare, I think, found her grave, and they invited me over to the unveiling of the memorial. So here I was in New York, in Calvary Cemetery, standing beside the grave of this young woman whom I'd written this song about, and hearing Ronan Tynan of the Irish Tenors singing the song back to her. I was in tears. Whoever imagines what happens with songs and that the circle would be completed like that. So, it was an extraordinary story. And now the song has taken on another life. It is now the anthem in the Basque schools in northern Spain, in the Basque country, for the Basque people and the Basque culture. They've put new lyrics to it. Then there was a version of it done in Japan, in Japanese, for the people who died and who survived Fukushima. So somehow there's something intrinsic in the song that appeals to other cultures. What it is, I don't know. If I could identify it and bottle it, I'd have it in every song. That's how it happened, and that's why Annie is always here with me when I'm writing. It's had a wonderful life, and you don't know with songs. You write them, they come from the right place. As I say, if you touch the touchstones in yourself, you're probably going to touch the touchstones in other people. So I have a lot to be thankful to Annie for.